Kia ora te whānau. Majin here. Boss Pessy to most people that know me close, but online as a streamer and a content creator, I'm known as Majin or Majin Live. This is a bit of a podcast just to introduce myself and tell you the everyday struggles or everyday heights of a person living in Porirua, gaming, and enjoying life. So hope you enjoy it. Sit back and listen to it while you're in the bath or in the toilet or chilling at home and you got a couple of spare hours to listen to me. So I probably should start it off right by obviously saying my pepeha and the Māori side of where I'm from. It's probably only right that I do that. To those abroad that don't understand what I'm doing, it's basically in Māoridom or New Zealand, you'd say what they call as a pepeha, basically an introduction to landmarks from where I come from. It helps identify yourself to what tribe or iwi that you're from in New Zealand and the major landmarks in that area. So here we go. Ko maunga piko te maunga, ko pārengarenga te moana, ko te reo mihi te marae, ko te hāpua toku kāinga tūturu, ko Ngāti Kuri ki miru whenua toku iwi. Kia ora rā tātou katoa. Now I got that out of the way. I just wanted to tell you guys about a little bit about my background. My mother is a Māori on my mum's side's mum, and her dad was Croatian. He was a Croatian immigrant from Croatia, obviously, or they used to call it Yugoslavia back then. My mother's from the area of Kaitaia, far north. 2 hours north of Kaitaia is a little settlement called Te Hāpua. That's where my mother's from, and that's where she was shipped down from to Wellington. And that's where she met my dad. My dad is a Samoan immigrant from Taufusi in Samoa. They met in Petone, Wellington, and pretty much the rest is history. My father being a Samoan, German, Scots, a little bit of everything. So I guess you could say that I'm pretty much a mongrel. I'm derived from every kind of walk of culture that you can think of. So a lot of people give me shit about that, but I didn't choose it. So so I'm Samoan, Croatian, Chinese, Maori, Scots, and a little bit of German. So there you go there. Growing up in Porirua as a kid, my parents, when they first settled in Petone and met each other, they then relocated to Tawa, and then from Tawa they came to Porirua, and I was born in, that's pretty much it. Growing up in Porirua as a poor, I'm going to be honest, we are a very poor family. I have an older brother, an older sister. My sister's the oldest, and then my brother, then me, and then I have a little brother. I remember growing up in Porirua, we were very broke. My father was a timberman. He worked in the timber industry, and my mother was a stay-at-home mum, so my father was the breadwinner growing up. My father was Samoan, but we did not grow up the far Samoa way, if that makes sense. Reason being, my dad kind of got kicked out of Samoa, so him being shipped over to New Zealand to make a better life for himself. Obviously, we didn't speak Samoan, or we didn't grow up speaking Samoan, but the far Samoan toughness or strictness was very much present in our lives. I mean, we got a hiding for looking at my father or my mother the wrong way. We had a tough upbringing, but I guess that's pretty much why I'm still alive today, I guess, and that's probably some of the positives I can take out of it. My father was a very, very stern and strict parent. So was my mother, but she was a little bit lighter on us, being as she came from the far north, and my mother's father and mother didn't really hit the kids, so that's not something that my mother kind of instilled into us. But my dad made sure that we were very much disciplined accordingly. So yeah, Basically, I've lived in the same house all my life. Seavis Grove Way, Porirua. Growing up, I didn't really understand the concept of being poor. In my family, my parents did a good job of kind of sheltering us to that effect. Like, I didn't know. I'll tell you a bit of a story about me being poor, which I didn't know, and it kind of was an eye opener to me. So probably when I was, I don't know, 5, 6, I remember going to the next door neighbour's house, and and they were gonna have a barbecue, so they asked me to stay for a barbecue, and I was stoked there. So I said I'll start cutting the wood, and they all looked at me funny, and they're like, "Huh?" And I was like, "What?" And they go, "No, we've got a barbecue. We just turn on the gas." So, giving you an insight of that, back when I was a kid, or back as far as I known, we've always did the barbecue in the fireplace, because we were too poor to have a barbecue, an actual physical barbecue. So what my dad would do is he would spark up the fire in the fireplace, put a metal grill over it, and then start grilling lamb flaps or whatever meat we had. So that I didn't know it then, but that was kind of like a hey buddy, you're broke kind of moment. And that's when I kind of knew, we're pretty living in poverty at the moment. So that was a bit of a sad and surreal moment for me as a kid. But my parents, like I said, they did everything and gave us everything we wanted as a kid. Very strict, but it was a good upbringing, I feel, and it kind of helped mold me to the person I am today. And yeah, man, moving away from the old negative Negitron over there, growing up in Porirua, I went to a school called Winley School. It was a local primary just down the road from my house, so we all went there. And it just so happens that my mother got a job there as a cleaner and as a teacher aide, which was cool, because all the kids were kind of starting to go to school. So she didn't have to stay home. She could obviously get a job, and she got 2 jobs. She worked real hard, my mum. So imagine trying to go to school, and you can't really play up because your mother's one of the teachers and she's well known in the school. So it was a pretty fucked moment, because I couldn't really act out as a kid, because then my mum will know, and then my mum will tell my dad, and then I get my ass beat. So that was always fun. I did going through primary from the age of 5 to the age of, I think it was 10. I was in a kind of like a kura kaupapa school, so it was a bilingual school. We were taught Māori, and we spoke Māori for about 90% of the day. So I value that. I think it's important to know your own language and understand and speak it. And being Te Reo Māori, it's a very beautiful language. I pride myself and I speak it as much as I can. Back then I didn't really, because back then Māori wasn't really cool, if that makes sense. A lot of the people used to resent the kids in the Māori class, thinking, oh, those Māoris, fuck them, it's like, it wasn't the it thing, you know what I mean? So, but I did enjoy it. I did enjoy it, sorry. I did kapahaka, and all of our teaching, whether it was math, social studies or whatnot, it was in Te Reo Māori, and I was pretty good at it. I picked up the language pretty quick. Yeah, and I loved it to bits. Then moving away from primary school and going into intermediate, I went to a different intermediate, although that school that I went to, Winley School, did offer the option of staying there 2 more years before going to college, but now I wanted to kind of get away from my mum, and also my sister was working there too, so it's like, I can't act up, I can't get a girlfriend, I can't kiss girls and shit, so I gotta get out of here. So I moved schools to Brandon Intermediate, which is a local intermediate here in Porirua, and those were probably some golden years. I love Brandon. My parents were nowhere to be seen. I could act out. I was a little shit. I've got to be honest, I did struggle a lot and I still do to this day, if I'm being honest. I did struggle a lot at Brandon Intermediate. Reason being is, as you learn Māori and your coach Māori and everything is about Māori and the way they speak, it's very phonetic. And English is the opposite of phonetic. I mean, you can't really spell out English words when you're taught Māori as a first language. So our vowels are a, e, or u. Very sounding. It sounds completely different to an English speaking of a, e, I, o, u. So I almost didn't pass intermediate because I struggled so bad with the linguistics of English, and how, like, I didn't understand how a K was a knife. Fucking blew my mind. I'm going, I don't get it. But I got there in the end. Like I said, I'm a pretty fast learner, so I got there at the end. But it is still a struggle that I go through every day. Like I said, English pretty much not being my first language. It's hard to change your way of thinking, because like I say, you think like a Maori, and then English is a very different way of processing information, especially written word or spoken word. So yeah, like I said, Brandon was an awesome time for me. I loved intermediate. I loved everything about it: basketball, girls, school itself. I thought it was great. And then it got even better when I got to college. I mean, I went to Porirua College, which is, again, a local college just up the road. It was known as the poor college, but hey man, my mum sent my brother there, my brother and my sister, my older sister, my older brother. So it only right that I follow suit. And PC was pretty awesome. Didn't have as much hot girls as I'd like, but that kind of helped me focus on school. School, man, college, growing up, there was a couple of teachers that kind of stuck by me and kind of did me a solid. The science teacher, Miss Samasone, being one of them. Geography teacher, Miss Hill, being another. Ron Wood, math teacher. Some of these teachers kind of made an impression on me, and me being a smart ass Samoan / Māori / mongrel boy. I think I was ahead of my time. Reason why I say that is because the grading, the way they work, NCEA, which is your grading for schools here in New Zealand, is I felt it was pretty simple. I mean, I passed sixth form and my fifth form, and then I passed my seventh form and my sixth form, so it was fucking silly. It was so easy to me. It was like second nature. I smashed school. I was a cheeky prick to most teachers, and I was one of those kids where I'll sit in the back of the class and joke, josh around and talk shit. And then the teacher will go, and what's the answer to this? And then I'll have the answer, and then they'll be like, oh, you're in detention. It's like, what the fuck? Man, I got the answer. What's the problem, But that was me in a nutshell at college. Picked up some solid friendships at college. Played a lot of basketball. That was my sport of choice, basketball. I wasn't really a rugby guy. It sounds weird because if you physically seen me when I was at college, I was a specimen. I don't want to toot my own horn, but your boy was man. I was 6'1", 130 odd kg. I was bulky. I wasn't overweight. I was quite a nice build. It was a rugby build, rugby dreams build. But I did enjoy watching rugby, but I just didn't enjoy playing it. It was a very weird sport to me. Like, I played it through like when I was at primary, but probably that's about it. I didn't see the hype in it. And if you told me this, like, if you told me you could be a millionaire from playing rugby back when I was at school, I'd probably do something about it. But rugby wasn't in my vision of being anything there. So I love basketball though. I love specifically I love street ball. And back when I was at college, it was when the whole and one scene kind of blew up. The old street ball and one, hot sauce, skip to my loo, Escalade kind of came to fruition. So I love, man, I used to love N1. So I'd practice every day, play ball. I pretty much lived down at the cage, Cannons Creek basketball court. There's a little court called the Cage because it's surrounded by a cage, and I used to, man, I'd be there from after school, 3:30 to like 11 p.m. Just balling out, man. Just yeah, I used to love it. I kind of caught a little bit of b-ball fame through that. A lot of people knew who I was, being a big guy. They've never seen a big person move like me before, so I kind of got my name around Porirua, or the streets anyway, as the basketball guy. I used to love playing basketball. I used to love doing tricks at people, just fouling people, make them look fucking stupid. I love that aspect of street ball. I used to do like tours around the basketball courts in Porirua, Ascot Park, Cannons Creek, Waitangaroa Mall, Kalaipi, trying to take on the Porirua's best b-ballers. Used to love doing that. I'd mission, like take walks, and these are like fucking 45-minute walks to courts just to play people on the other side of Porirua. Used to love doing that. I adopted the name Escalade, which is a N1 street baller. If no one knows, he was a big boy, but he can move like a point guard. So I kind of adopted that name. And ball was life for me back then, man. I used to love ball. But then I kind of got a bit lazy, got a bit complacent, and then I got a job. This is around when I'm 16, 17. I got a job at a hardware store locally in Porirua, and that kind of said goodbye to ball and introduced me to the money factor. So having money when I was young was awesome. I mean, he used to buy me the latest shoes, the latest cell phones, and people at school would think, man, this guy's a drug dealer or something. He said, nah, I was working a job. I would go to school, and then on the weekends or sometimes after work, sometimes after school I'd go to work and put in the hours to get money, man. From there, I started really focusing on work. I passed school. I got university entrance, which is kind of like the school C. I was presented with an option from my father. My father, being the strict prick that he is, kind of said, well, son, and this was my father's kind of dream for all of his kids, because my sister and my brother before me didn't go to uni, and that's a dream for some reason of my father, that he's always wanted one of his kids to go to uni. And he was kind of looking at me being his namesake, he's kind of looking at me like, son, be the one, son, you know. And I'm kind of like, man, I don't like school. I made sure I passed school so I don't have to do that shit ever again. So he gave me an option of, pretty much, it was a conversation that kind of went like this: son, you're gonna go to uni? And I said, no, Dad, I want to work for a bit. I like money at the moment, so no. And he goes, okay, you're going to buy a house. And that's as far as the conversation went. There was no option 2 or 3 or 4. My dad pretty much forced me. Well, I don't say it was forced. It was kind of like an option, is do something with it, you know, don't piss it around. So he got me to take out a loan and buy a house up on the land that we owned up in Te Hapu, where my mum's from. And my dad went up there for a couple of weeks to help the builder build the house, and the house is still standing to this day. 20 some odd years later. So, and it's the same house that my parents are now in to this day, retired, with no bills. So I think it was a great choice at the time. I didn't like it, but I don't think I had a choice in the matter. So that was just me. I was like, yes, Dad, okay, yeah. Scary fucking scary thing, being that young and kind of committing to a lifetime, for more or less, because I watched my parents grow up paying off a house. My father I didn't really see that much of when I was a kid, because he was always working, trying to pay the bills, and so it kind of played my mind a little bit. Me going to school and going to work, I'll come home with like $300 after work, and so I used to ball out, buy shoes and shit like that. And then when you go from buying shoes and stuff like that to something like $80 a week, and you're like, oh man, where's all my money gone? And then you see that payment of the house payment go out every payday, and you're like, oh man, what the fuck? What is this option that I was given, man? So, but hey, man, like I said, I didn't like it then, but now looking back at it, I think it was a great thing that my father did, and man, I'm proud to say that I was a house owner by the time I was 18, or a little bit younger than that, and I don't think a lot of people have the luxury of that, which I'm forever grateful for my father for pushing me to do that. So yeah, man. From there, we kind of finished school. I'm working at this hardware store for a bit now. Working my way up the ranks. The whole idea is to kind of get my parents to retire and go back home. My father at the time was about 62, 63, so trying to really make that push to get my parents back home up in Te Hapua and enjoy life ultimately. I could see my father's health deteriorating with his knees getting bad. So that was the ultimate goal for me personally, and trying to make leeway with that. I got my brothers and my sisters to kind of come together and make that happen for our parents, which I think was probably one of the most proudest moments of my life. Getting my parents home and getting them debt free and in a house that they don't have to worry about money, where money's not an option or hassle. It still kind of gives me that tingly feeling when I speak about it, and just to see my parents kind of smile and enjoy life. I guess that's what any kind of kid would want for their parents, ultimately. Yeah, so moving on from that, it's probably best that I start talking about the gaming side of what I do. So, I don't know, probably back when I was 19, 20, I used to run a Facebook page called Call of Duty NZ, which was pretty much a Facebook page or a Facebook group that facilitated in-house competitions on Call of Duty. I used to run that for a bit, live stream the games, run the competitions, do all the graphics and everything like that, and that's what kind of made me fall in love with gaming. Like, I've always been an avid gamer. I mean, my older brother, I used to watch my older brother hours on end on Alex the Kid when we were kids. Again, couldn't afford shit, but my dad somehow pulled it out of the hat and came home with the Sega Master System. I think it was the Master System he bought for my brother. And yeah, man, that kind of ignited the whole gaming hunger that I have, if you will. Managing the Call of Duty NZ page kind of snowballed into me joining and playing COD competitively on the Cyber Gamer. Bloody phone. Sorry. Cyber Gamer page. Making new friends on the internet, that was a bit weird. And then kind of it manifesting into me streaming. So streaming content live on Twitch, getting involved into the gaming community in terms of hosting competitions and whatnot. And that's kind of where I fell into the whole Arepa thing. That's when Arepa kind of came out. So I did some work for Echo Gaming in Wellington, which was much like a gaming hub or a gaming place in Wellington with Jack. And Jack sold the business to Sio, which is the owner now of Arepa. Well, he's one of the owners. He's the majority shareholder. And I kind of came into the picture in terms of being a part of Arepa when Sio reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to be a part of the team. And I kind of said, well, Arepa's in Wellington and I'm a Porirua boy. So I pretty much told him, if Arepa's in Wellington, I can't help you because it doesn't serve my people, it doesn't serve my community. But if it comes to Porirua, I got you. I just said that I was talking out my ass. I was talking mad shit out of my ass at the moment. And then a couple of months later, he he rang me and he goes, also, I've closed the shop in Wellington and I'm coming out to Porirua and I'm opening it up in Porirua. Are you still keen to help out and jump on board? And in the back of my mind, I'm going, fuck. I fucking called my bluff. So me being a man of my word, I said, yeah, bro, I'm with it. And ever since then, man, we've been doing some awesome stuff for the community, for Porirua and for Arepa. We've hosted a couple of gaming tournaments, to being notable, the Rugby 08 tournament with my man Mose Ngalo, aka Beast Mose, and the Rugby 08 and the Jonah Lomu competition that we ran with, and that was my brother Mose and Biondi, the brand Biondi, and also James giving us some putia for the prizes and whatnot. So shout out to James, my brother JT, Tangata Maiti, much love to you, my brother. I thank you for helping out. And yeah, man, from there, we just started doing a lot of events, community-based events at Arepa. So Arepa is basically a gaming club or gaming lounge that we opened in Porirua, to serve the community of Porirua and to open up doors in terms of people that want to use gaming as a tool to help kids learn or to help people learn te reo Māori, or like, for example, we did a pilot with Tōku Reo Trust, which basically meant that we were teaching kids how to speak Māori through gaming. So they'll be taught a little bit of Māori, and then they'll jump on the game of Fortnite and use those words that they just learned in Māori and conversate in Māori while playing the game. And right now, as we speak, we're also doing a pilot with another facilitator that speaks Kiribati and Niuean. So that's another one that we're working on, where we're teaching these kids or families or what have you their own home language through gaming, which I think is kind of a brilliant thing. I think anytime that someone's trying to learn their native tongue is a beautiful thing. And then most notably, where we're at with Arepas was the big Fortnite event that we threw back in July, which was the Whawhai o Ngā Whetū. It was a event based around Matariki, and we got a call up from, actually the call up was through Beast Mose kind of housed the whole thing. He the arena manager, the Te Rauparaha arena manager, which is a local arena, sports gym / hall / pools, it's everything here. The Te Rauparaha arena manager Helen reached out to Mose and told Mose if he was a part of Arepa and if she wanted to talk about running an event. Mose passed me the message. I rang Helen. Helen told me what's up. I went back to the boys, and unbeknownst to me that the boys have already talked to Helen, and basically she wanted an event done in Porirua, a major esports event right here in Porirua, which was mad to me. It was crazy because I mean, you don't really, when you speak of Porirua, you don't really speak of the esports avenue, you know? It's not really a hand-to-hand subject, but now it is because of the event that we threw. And it was a major success. It was awesome. I've never seen so much people in Porirua congregate in the same area. And there was more people, like, wasn't just Porirua, it was Wellington, the wider Wellington region, Nainai, Lower Hutt, Upper Hutt, everyone came. And that was kind of a big deal to me, because I was thinking on small scale, at best we'll probably get 200-300 people come in, play the game, you know, compete for some awesome prizes. And then when I saw, I'm going to say probably close to 2,000, maybe 2,000 and a half people at the arena, on bums on seats, people standing. It was a surreal moment. If I'm being honest, as I was doing the production side of things, doing the streaming of 10 PCs, and shoutcasting also, I kind of looked over the computer screen and I saw the faces and so many people, and I'm like, oh man, this is a big deal, and I kind of freaked out a bit, but it was a cool moment. It was a cool freak out, you know what I mean? It was a surreal moment. It was a cool moment in time for me to kind of register. Man, we did this for Porirua. We did this in Porirua, and yeah, man, it was an awesome thing. But yeah, so right now I'm still streaming. I'm not as much as I want to, because I'm trying to do too many things at once. I'm always the type of person to put my finger in the pie as much as I can. Sounds dodgy as fuck, I shouldn't have said it like that. I like to work on multiple things, keep myself busy, whether it be photography, videography, design graphics, gaming. I'm all about that kind of stuff. Got a few projects working on now, but I can't speak about them just yet. I just got to kind of confirm some things, so expect some good things from me, man. Me and my crew. I think that's pretty much it. I hope I haven't missed anything or skimmed over too fast on anything. I mean, I'm open to any kind of questions that you guys have, or anything that you want me to talk about a little bit more in depth. Ideally, I do want to do like an in-depth one about my upbringing and my younger days, growing up as a broke Porirua kid. I think that would be a cool thing that I can talk about, and I could probably talk about for a couple of hours or so. Growing up the Far Samoa way without the Far Samoa, that would be cool. Another cool subject that I'd like to speak on, and also my basketball days. I'd very much like to speak about that, and have other people that were witness the God himself. Nah, I shouldn't say that. That's fucking the vain as shit. But witness what I could do on the court. I think that would be a pretty good cast too. So yeah, man, that's pretty much me. In a nutshell, I'm just looking at the time now. We reached about 33 minutes. I didn't think I could bloody talk that long, but obviously I can. I hope that was somewhat cool for you. Thank you for checking out the podcast. I appreciate it. I'm going to do more of these, probably with more friends. I want to talk about the whole buying a house when I'm young and retiring our parents. I think that'll be another cool subject to talk about. But yeah, man. If you can, follow me on the podcast on Spotify. I don't know if I'm going to do iTunes yet, but Spotify definitely. YouTube, I don't know. But yeah. I think that's it, bro. I think I've spoken about everything I want to speak about. More content coming soon. More streams coming soon. More of me. Yeah. But yeah, man. I hope that was in right succession with what I was talking about. I haven't really... I didn't take notes or anything. I just was talking from my head, from what I can remember. So I hope it made sense. If it didn't, sorry. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed what I was speaking about anyway. It's a little bit about me and what I'm all about. I'd love to do more of these in due time. So stay tuned, click that follow button on the podcast, and we'll see you in the next one, man. I appreciate you listening to me. I hope you have a great day, and take care of yourself. See you in the next one. Come in.